In the 5th century BC, the kingdoms of Yue and Wu were regional powers in southeastern China. Both competed for territory, river routes, and political prestige, which led to several prolonged wars. The king of Yue, Goujian, was defeated by Wu and forced to submit as a vassal for several years. After being released and returning to his kingdom, he began a process of military reconstruction to prepare for future revenge.
In the 5th century BC, the kingdoms of Yue and Wu were regional powers in southeastern China.
Both competed for territory, river routes, and political prestige, which led to several prolonged wars. The king of Yue, Goujian, was defeated by Wu and forced to submit as a vassal for several years. After being released and returning to his kingdom, he began a process of military reconstruction to prepare for future revenge.
According to traditional accounts, she was summoned by King Goujian to train officers and pass on her knowledge of handling the weapon.
Her teachings combined observation of movement, control of the body, and precision in striking. There is no evidence that she commanded soldiers or formed a military unit of women, although some later texts exaggerate her role. After years of preparation, Yue launched a campaign against Wu using military strategy, espionage, and economic attrition.
The war ended with the defeat of the Kingdom of Yue in 473 BC.
This victory allowed Yue to become one of the most influential states of the period. The Lady of Yue disappears from the records after her role as an instructor. Her figure remains mainly as a technical reference in martial arts treatises, and as a rare example of a woman recognized for her skill with weapons in ancient China.
After being defeated, King Goujian spent years as a vassal of the King of Wu. During that time,
he pretended loyalty, hid his resentment, learned everything about the Wu court, studied its strengths and weaknesses.
When he returned to his kingdom, he turned humiliation into a long-term plan of military reconstruction.
This is one of the classic examples of psychological warfare from the period. Yue's military training was extreme.
Goujian forced his people to become self-sufficient and resilient.
Farmers and fishermen were trained to fight, arsenals were built, weapons production was reinforced, training was standardized. This is where the technical role of the Lady of Yue fits in, teaching swordsmanship principles and technique to the army. Some chronicles say that Yue turned its entire society into a disciplined military force.
The war lasted for decades. Conflict between Wu and Yue was not a single battle, but a series of wars that stretched over decades. 5th century BC.
It involved internal betrayals,
espionage, economic strangulation, multiple land and naval battles, broken alliances, infiltrations, and sabotage.
You can portray it as a long, bitter war filled with dramatic rises and falls. The fall of Wu was terrifyingly swift after years of resistance. Wu was exhausted. Droughts, poor harvests, military attrition, the poor governance of King Fukai.
When Yue struck with its renewed strategy, Wu collapsed in just a few years. A once powerful kingdom fell like a house of cards because it had been consumed by internal conflict.